Imagine a land of sun-scorched plains and jagged hills where the air shimmers with heat and dust rises in waves across the valleys. It is approximately 1479 BC, and the ancient world trembles on the brink of a confrontation unlike any other. The armies of Pharaoh Thutmose III of Egypt march forward, their soldiers disciplined, their chariots glinting in the morning sun. Across the plain, the armies of the Canaanite kings gather, ready to defend their lands, their homes, and their very lives. This is the Battle of Megiddo, the first war recorded in human history, a battle that will be remembered for millennia, not just for its scale, but for the audacity, strategy, and courage it displays. Thutmose III, the young pharaoh, surveys the landscape from a ridge overlooking the valley. He knows that victory here will secure Egypt's dominance over Canaan, expanding the empire's reach and cementing his legacy. The enemy, led by a coalition of Canaanite kings, has fortified the city of Megiddo and positioned their troops to block the main routes of attack. They believe the hills and narrow passes will protect them, but Thutmose is a master strategist. He studies every path, every ridge, every river crossing, calculating where to strike, where to wait, and where to deceive. The Egyptian army moves with precision. Soldiers march in tight formations, chariots roll forward in gleaming columns, archers prepare their bows, and infantry grips their spears tightly. The air is thick with anticipation and the scent of heated metal. Behind them, the priests chant prayers to the gods of war, invoking protection and courage for their king and his men. Every soldier knows that they are part of something monumental, that history will remember what they do today. The Canaanite kings, confident in their numbers and their fortified positions, wait impatiently. Their soldiers stand ready, shields raised, swords and spears in hand. They have faced Egyptian envoys and armies before, but never one like Thutmose III, a pharaoh who combines the cunning of a general with the authority of a god. Still, they believe the terrain is theirs, that the hills, narrow passes, and river crossings will allow them to crush the Egyptian advance. Thutmose, however, surprises them. Instead of taking the obvious, well-guarded route to Megiddo, he leads his army along a narrow, treacherous path through the hills, a route considered too dangerous for chariots. The Canaanites, confident that their enemy would not attempt this path, leave the pass lightly defended. It is a gamble, a calculated risk, but Thutmose understands that unpredictability is a weapon as sharp as any sword. By taking the unexpected route, he ensures that the Egyptian army will strike where the enemy is weakest, catching them off guard. As the Egyptians emerge from the hills into the plains before Megiddo, the Canaanites are stunned. The army they thought secure is suddenly upon them, chariots rolling forward like thunder, infantry forming solid lines, archers raining arrows down from both sides. Panic spreads through the enemy ranks as Egyptian soldiers advance with precision and relentless energy. Every move has been planned, every formation rehearsed, and the Canaanites realize that they are facing not just an army, but the genius of a pharaoh who understands the art of war. The first clash is violent and terrifying. Spears meet shields, swords strike against armor, and the cries of men echo across the valley. Chariots collide with enemy formations, scattering soldiers like leaves in a storm. The Egyptians use their superior organization to encircle portions of the Canaanite army, cutting off escape routes and isolating enemy units. The Canaanite kings attempt to rally their forces, but the speed and discipline of the Egyptian attack overwhelm them. Every attempt to regroup is met with arrows, spear thrusts, and the terrifying charge of Egyptian chariots. Thutmose moves through the battlefield like a force of nature. He is both king and commander, visible to his troops, yet elusive to the enemy. His presence inspires courage in the Egyptian soldiers and sows fear among the Canaanites. Witnesses later describe him as a whirlwind of strategy, issuing orders with calm authority, directing reinforcements to where they are most needed, and ensuring that no soldier fights without support. The Egyptians fight as one, a cohesive force of thousands, while the Canaanites struggle with disorganization and confusion. Hours pass, and the intensity of the battle grows. The valley is filled with the sounds of combat, the clash of metal, the screams of the wounded, the roar of chariots, and the commands shouted by officers. The sun climbs higher, beating down on men and horses alike. Dust and smoke swirled together, reducing visibility and heightening tension. The Canaanites, trapped between the advancing Egyptian lines and the fortified city of Megiddo, find themselves with nowhere to retreat. Fear spreads, lowering morale and breaking the will of many soldiers. Thutmose's strategy becomes evident. He does not seek merely to engage the enemy, but to annihilate their army. By using the narrow passes and flanking maneuvers, he ensures that the Canaanites cannot consolidate or counterattack effectively. Egyptian archers target commanders, chariots disrupt formations, and infantry attacks relentlessly from multiple directions. The Canaanites attempt desperate charges, but the discipline and training of the Egyptians are unmatched. One by one, enemy units collapse, and chaos spreads throughout the Canaanite ranks. The turning point comes when Thutmose himself leads a decisive charge against the central position of the enemy. Riding a chariot and wielding his spear, he cuts through the core of the Canaanite formation. Soldiers on either side follow his lead, attacking with renewed vigor and precision. The enemy's center is broken, leaving flanks exposed and opening the path for encirclement. The Canaanite kings realize that their army is collapsing. Their soldiers, now disorganized and terrified, begin to flee toward the city gates, only to find them blocked by Egyptian forces. By evening, the battlefield is transformed into a scene of devastation. Thousands of soldiers lie wounded or dead. Chariots are overturned, spears and shields are broken, and the cries of the dying echo in the night. Thutmose III has achieved what few thought possible, the complete destruction of the Canaanite coalition army. Megiddo is taken, its fortifications overcome, and the Pharaoh's dominance over Canaan is secured. The victory is not just military, it is psychological, sending a clear message to neighboring lands about the power of Egypt and the genius of its young ruler. The aftermath of Megiddo is significant. Thutmose collects tribute, imposes Egyptian control over the region, and solidifies trade and communication routes.